Hey good people, welcome back to Beauty in the Frizz. My name is Cara. Thank you for stopping by and hanging out with me for a great video today, because this is a historic moment in my makeup journey. I finally am the owner of the Muerte palette. So if you want to see some look inspo with this baby, keep watching this video. Let me know what you think. And if makeup is your therapy and your love, if it makes you happy and you want to hang out with someone that feels the same way, definitely consider joining the community. I would love to have you back. All right, let's get started. They're here. Huh? That looks amazing. Do one more. One more. It looks amazing. It really does.
Oh, one more.
One more picture.
Wow.
One more picture.
To the page.
Turn the page. Got that right. They have to start detoxing off the technology. We're gonna just start with a half hour at a time, and I'm gonna increase the time. That's what's happening here. But back to my moment. They're together. So Vita was on sale at one point, and I just was like, let me just get this in hopes that Muerte will come back. So that was probably a year ago. And then this baby came back. So they sneak peeked this a while back, a couple months ago. I want to say thank you to everyone who tagged me. We definitely willed Melt Cosmetics to bring back Muerte, and I am so happy to have it in my collection. I just feel like this palette is a classic, and for those who don't know, I was not doing makeup. I didn't know anything about Melt Cosmetics at all when Muerte and Vita were released, the Amor Eternal collection. You know, I had no idea. So once I got into it, I was a year too late, at least a year too late. I just always wanted this palette. I had been stalking it on Macari. The prices were just outrageous. I'm sure some of you have seen that. And even now, like, they have the Amor Eternal collection, $600. You know, I'm just like, this is crazy. Used Muerte palettes going for $300, and people are buying them. And the reason that Muerte was so sought after is just this color story is really one of the most unique color stories I've ever seen. So this video is going to be all about look inspiration. You know, this palette is, I think, gone forever at this point. It is sold out currently, and I was actually very surprised that the palette was still in stock a couple of days later. It took, I want to say, about 3 days for this palette to sell out, and I was just happy to get my hands on it, and happy that Melt Cosmetics, either they were well stocked or maybe people weren't really buying it, but I think they were well stocked because a lot of people really wanted this palette. Now, there's a couple ironies with this palette for me as I look at it. Now, first of all, it is one of the most unique eyeshadow palettes I've ever seen. And even if I don't get a lot of use out of it, I know it sounds stupid, I will always treasure having this palette in my collection. The irony of this palette is that since wanting Muerte to come back, have decided that blues are not my color. It's very unfortunate, because this palette, the majority of it are blue shades, and then we have these beautiful reds. But as a whole, I love just the whole story and just the concept of Vita and Muerte, life and death. So when you have Vita here paired with Muerte, I mean, these color combinations I think are pretty endless. And there are both of the palettes together. So just really unique and gorgeous color stories.
Mom.
Yes.
You can keep going.
I can keep going, thanks. I think this will be cool to combine, but this video is solely going to be creating looks with this Muerte palette. I am going to do 4 looks, and I'm going to tell you, I think this palette, and I haven't done all 4 yet at this time. I'm filming this all out of order.
Keep going.
Thank you. So I have to tell you guys before we get into the look inspo, and I'm sure I'm gonna ramble about it a little bit during the looks, this palette is a bit tricky to work with. And I love a grungy look, and lately is starting to seem permanent. I have been going for the less colorful, more neutral, monochromatic type looks, and I have said it in a couple videos talking about how when I am showcasing a new palette, I want to use as many colors as I can because I only have time to maybe do 2 looks or maybe 3, and I'm just trying to show the whole palette off. So, you know, when I see looks with Muerte, I see a lot of the reds and blues mix and things like that, and I'm just like, I don't know if I like these looks anymore, you know what I mean, or want to do those looks. I just sat down and really tried to play with this palette and couldn't figure out a look that I liked. So the 4 that you're gonna see, they really took some time to create because I still have to plan out the other 2. That looks amazing, Marky. That you did a good job.
Can I put my iPad?
Not yet. I'll be out in a minute to talk to you. Go ahead. Thank you. See, they're trying to just get done so they can get back on this technology, and I'm not for it. Can you show them so I can get into these looks, please? Because just tell them who it is.
It's Iron Spider.
Okay.
And look at his arms. No,
no, I'm looking. I'm looking at you. No, you're gonna show them. Tell them right here. Go ahead. 3 on.
He has 3 arms, and it looks like Iron Man a little bit.
I love it.
His body is glowing with red. That's what Iron Man looks like.
I love it. You're so sandy and creamy. I love it.
Sand.
You're sandy.
It's because I was putting on your body wash.
Okay, all right. So anyway, enough of that. Let's go ahead and get into these 4 looks. And I'm gonna let you know at the end, was the FOMO worth it? Is this palette really good? See, here's the thing. It's a great color story, right? But is it great quality? Why do we have the loyalty to...
Say the child.
I'm not gonna say the child because it's not the same brand. But why do we have the loyalty to Muerte? Is it a good formula? That's what we need to think about. Is it great?
Think that you put on top and under your eyes.
Oh, do you like it? It's blue.
What do you put?
It's an eyeliner. It's blue eyeliner. I'll show you. Because here's the thing. Melt.
Did you do your eyebrows?
I did do my eyebrows. Do they look good or do they look too thick? Because I think they're a little thick.
They look thin.
Okay. Thank you to my manager. Melt can be hit or miss, you know what I'm saying? So let's just think about beyond the color story. Can we work with it? Can we work with it? That's what we're trying to figure out. Now, there's no way that I wouldn't have purchased this palette, and there's no way I'm giving it up either. So I don't care if the quality's not good. I am just so happy to have this. Okay, let me get into the looks.
On the back.
All right, you guys, so I'm really excited to get into these looks, and this is gonna be the first one. But before we get into it, I wanna share just how difficult it was for me to come up with these looks. I played with this palette last night, and I really didn't like anything that I came up with. I think that a year or so ago, I would have been mixing all these colors and doing all these combinations, but over the past year, my eyeshadow taste has really changed and evolved from all of that. So even though this is a palette that I have been waiting for to come back, I look at it and almost don't know what to do with it. And I know that sounds so crazy because I've been waiting for this palette since I started doing makeup. I've been looking at it from the beginning. It's been gone, you know, and I started, for those that don't know, I started at the end of 2019. I think this palette came out in 2018. So we're talking about like 3 years. So it's funny to sit down here and do these looks. But the good thing about it is, first, is that these looks are gonna be 2022 fresh looks with the fresh palette. And I am hoping that this will give inspo to both people who like the grungy looks and the colorful looks, as well as those who are looking for softer looks and simpler looks. So let's get into this. I'm gonna show it to you up close. And you can see it is relatively simple. This was so easy to create. It took 3 colors. So let me just close my eyes so you can see. And now we're gonna get in to how I created it. Super easy. You're only gonna need 3 brushes for this look. I have a tapered blending brush from BK Beauty, a crease brush, and a pencil brush. So it is like the simplest. I'm gonna start with the shade Corazon. And the reason that I wanted to do this, first of all, I love red eyeshadow looks. And I think Corazon is just such a beautiful red. It is just so rich. Matter of fact, all the colors in this palette are rich. So this is just a very rich pigmented palette. And I really wanted to let this matte shade really shine. And you know, one of the challenges with the melt palettes often is that they don't have a lot of shimmers. So doing all matte looks is something I don't do a whole lot. So taking the BK Beauty 202 brush in the shade Corazon, and what I'm gonna do is I am just gonna start on the lid. And I'm just gonna build this pigment up as much as I can. And the key to this look is the blending. So I'm kind of pressing it in and I'm getting it all the way to the inner corner. And you don't have to worry if it's messy because this is also gonna be the transition shade. So it's not gonna matter. But we wanna just put a lot of pigment on the lid like this. And that's how I started the look. So now what I'm gonna do is I am gonna take the same brush without adding anything else. And I'm just now going into the circular motions, and you can see that that is diffusing the shade and making it a transition shade as well. And if you want to bring it out, like wing it out like I usually do, you can do that or not. I'm just taking a little bit more and pressing it on the lid because that's the part that I want to be the deepest. And that's the first part, and I'll let you know, this was enough for me. I was like, this is really like just a beautiful one and done shade. But as you can see, I've added some smokiness here on the second or the outer portion of the lid. And so now we're gonna go into Sangri, which is this shade right here. And I picked this one instead of this one. When I practiced last night, I did this shade and I just didn't, this one looks better. And it's funny because I complained about Gemini, and see, one is more red. That's this one. That's the one we're gonna use. Because Gemini 2, oh my God, y'all, Gemini 2. I had a struggle bus situation with Gemini 2, and I'm using the same brush on the outer corner. And the struggle was that those reds really are not showing up on my skin differently. But that's why I know with that palette, it's not a bad palette at all, but I can't use a whole bunch of shades in the palette. So that's what I learned. Now the focus of Sangri is gonna be the outer corner and crease, as far over as you wanna bring it and as far out. So now you can see that you have some depth here on this outer corner. Try to make sure it blends. Now I'm gonna go into my crease brush from Igshou into Corazon and put it on the lower lash line. And I'm doing it really lightly. I'm not trying to drag it down or have it be super dramatic, because I did that yesterday and then I felt like a vampire. I was like, this is just too much, you know? This is a dramatic palette, you know what I mean? So going into Sangri with the same brush just to connect that inner corner here. Lastly, I'm taking a pencil brush and I'm gonna go into Calaca, which is this for the point. I initially started this look with putting Angelito, which is the teal shimmer, in the inner corner. I don't think it looked bad, but I like this. But you could do that because that's the other bright shade. I was also thinking about Lagrimas, which is the teal matte shade. I thought that could be, you know, a nice inner corner highlight shade. And then if you want to get fancy, you could always put Calaca on the brow bone. All right, and then I'm taking my BK Beauty brush and blending this all together to make sure it looks nice. And that's it, y'all. So let me just tell you what I'm gonna put on my eye to finish it up. I am gonna be using a black felt tip liner on the top lashes. and a Charlotte Tilbury Blue Lights Navy liner on the bottom, and whatever mascara you want to use. This is the Benefit They're Real, and then I'll be back to show you the final look. All right, you guys, so here is the look. First look, it's all finished. I'm not sure why you can't do it. I don't have scissors. So before we do any more looks, let me tell you what else is on my face. I have on the Hourglass Ambient Foundation, which I use one pump and I feel like it's pretty full coverage. And I like the finish, but I'm trying to, I don't know, I just feel like it's full coverage for me. I have on the Dior Skin Correct Concealer, the Chanel Bronzer Powder in medium, the Chanel Deep Apricot Water Fresh Blush. I just wasn't really sure what I was going to create. Well, I was sure, but you know, I'm doing a variety, so everything is very light. Like you can't even see the blush. It's so sheer you can't see it, because I was going to use the highlighter. So, and then for my lips, I have on Lisa Eldridge Meet Me in Berlin. I do have a liner on, the Decade liner, because I just wanted this to last a little bit. August got me cutting up this, cutting open his toy, y'all, that he can't open. Now you just knocked over my brushes. You did. No, just leave them. Just leave them. Just leave them. Do not sit them up because they will all fall out. They will. If you do it and it...
See?
Thank you. I really appreciate that. So kind and helpful. I'm trying to figure out, so I ended up ordering these toys for August. Not that it's his birthday or Christmas or anything, but for some reason, whenever River has something that he likes, all of a sudden, yes, all of a sudden it is a hot commodity in the neighborhood. So we're about to go on vacation. Like, I'm not dealing with it this weekend. So y'all can have your own toys. Y'all need to put your names on them, because I'm not doing it.
Hey guys, I grew a pimple.
Really, August? No, nobody wants to see that, because there's stuff going around. And
I see it, look.
Thank you for telling everybody your whole business. I grew a pimple, you grew it. August, let me tell you what else about your boy. I'm minding my business. Mark and I are minding our business, trying to go to McDonald's. And we had to drop off an iPad that River broke for the probably third or fourth time to get fixed. Anyway, I get a call from his school talking about his stomach hurts and he wants to be picked up. Luckily, it was in the same direction. So I went to go get him and I was like, yeah, so you know, you probably won't be able to eat this McDonald's, after he ate a whole piece of pizza at school. So I go in the lobby. He's like, wait, you're going right now? I'm like, yes, that's what we were on our way to. He's like, I think I might be able to eat it. This fool ate a whole large fry and a chocolate milkshake, talking about his stomach hurt. He just wanted to get picked up.
No, I didn't.
You did.
My stomach hurts.
Bye, August. Yeah, let me know what you think about this first one. Let me know if you thought it was simple. I know a lot of people were like, you know, this palette is deep. And I'm like, it is. Like, what am I gonna do with it? So let's come up with something else. Wait, let's not come up with something else. See, August got me off my game. I wanted to use the highlighter, the Illumination highlighter. Just in case you don't stay for all the rest of the look inspo, we can see. Nope.
Oh, I got the pool. We can't go to the
Look at
pool.
this.
No pool today.
No, but we're going on vacation with a beach and a pool. This is so gorgeous. I'm gonna try to take you tomorrow after you get your hair cut. I know we didn't have luck. No, Wednesday. Look at that. And Saturday, for that matter. Look how pretty that is.
I said the haircut.
No, haircut tomorrow. Oh, this is gorgeous. All right, let's put this on. Here's my plan for tomorrow, and I hope it works. Oh, but Marky, you know what? It might rain tomorrow, so that's why I didn't want to tell you.
We can't go to the swimming pool.
Listen.
What is it, Mom?
Oh, I forgot that fast. I was mystified and not mystified,
It's not
amazed.
The wind. It's not the wind.
So it might rain tomorrow. If it rains tomorrow, I'm not gonna be able to take you. If it doesn't rain tomorrow, then I'm gonna take you after you get your hair cut.
Take him where?
What? No?
Take Marky where?
No, I'm taking Marky to get his hair cut. You gotta go to camp to practice for the camp jam.
And Mom, you said you'll take him to where?
To get his hair cut.
And Mom,
That's it. Ooh.
wait, are we going to the pool again? I forgot.
Saturday.
Not that day we're going to work on. Remember you said we're going to the pool?
We were supposed to go Monday and it didn't happen.
You said we were going 5 times in a row.
I said when we go on vacation. Do y'all like this? Look at this, August. You see that shimmer? Mm-hmm. You like it? It's like, look.
Mom, what does savage mean?
Savage. A savage is like someone who just ruthless. Who's a savage?
I don't know. Savage love?
Savage love. It's like a strong love.
You're about to put that shimmer on me.
A love
you put that,
with the hunger.
You put the shimmer on me.
I have a savage love for you.
Look, you put the shimmer on me.
I'm sorry.
Look.
I have a savage love for you.
Kelly.
Savage love. Kiss somebody. Oh my God, somebody yummy. Okay, this highlighter is beautiful. Did I tell y'all? I don't know, I didn't do the intro yet. Because I ordered this with the palette and didn't know that they were giving out this for free. I'm sorry. Y'all, people don't want me to be great up in his house.
You want goldfish.
I can see that. My thing is, have you tried? Did you try to pour? 3 before me. Did you try? Did you try to pour them? You can stand in here and do it. No, I said try. I'm not gonna enable this behavior. Ooh. You gonna have to figure it out. I told y'all, no more. It's gonna get worse before it gets better, y'all. And I'm sorry that y'all have to deal with it. Y'all gonna have to deal with it. Y'all are gonna see the evolution.
But I can't.
Oh yes, you can. That's right. Tyrone was like, you can, and you don't want to eat them. Tired. Let's get into another look now. Oh yes, this is gorgeous though. I didn't know they had it for free. I could have ordered something else, but you know what? It's fine. Next look. All right, for the next simple look, we're gonna be playing with the blue shades. So here it is. And I'm gonna mix the red and the blue, but I just wanted to start with the monochromatic looks first. So that's the look. And I think the standout, honestly, in this look is the eyeliner I use, so I will make a point to show that. It's actually the Charlotte Tilbury. I'm going a little out of order here. But this liner is great, and I lined the top and bottom with the metallic side, and I think that really made that blue really stand out. It looks really nice. Let's get into it. I do have 4 brushes here. I have a Sonia G Classic Crease. I have a BK Beauty A504, so the smaller crease brush. I have a flat shader by Bodyography Pro, and then the same pencil brush from last time. I am actually gonna start with my finger into Angelito, which is this teal shimmer. Some palettes call me to do it that way, and some tell me to, well, not tell me, but they, I naturally want to start with the transition. In this palette, I don't want to do that for some reason, and I'm not sure why. So I'm just stamping this in. The shimmer feels so rough, but it is a good shimmer, but it feels really rough, y'all. I'm like, did y'all make the palette or did you find the palette? Do y'all remember when Melt found some Muerte palettes? They found some one day, and I'll never forget this because I had been on the Melt website several times. I don't know if they were having a sale. I don't know what was happening, but people were like, oh my God, I bought Muerte. I'm like, how? I was on the site. Yes. Oh my God. If y'all remember that, please let me know. If you got one of those Muerte palettes, let me know. Because I want to know, where did they find them? They just found like some random ones and then put them on sale. It was crazy. I feel like that was around the time of Beetlejuice, but I don't know. I don't know when it was. They were having some type of sale. Okay, so that's the beautiful teal color. And I do like this. This is a really pretty color and a nice shimmer, even though it feels rough, y'all, for real. I'm gonna take the small crease brush and I'm gonna go into Lagrimas. And now what I'm gonna do is just take it on up. So again, this is very monochromatic, just like the last look. We will get into some mixing. And I'm just gonna build and diffuse until it looks the way that I want it to look. All right, so I'm gonna stop there with the teal shade. Now going into the Sonia G Classic Crease into the shade Duelo, tapping it in, tapping off the brush. And that's gonna be the outer corner smoke shade. So just getting my placement. And this is the same move I did with Sangri. in the last one, and that's gonna give us a smoky eye. And you know, my advice when you don't know what to do with the palette is just go monochromatic until you figure it out. And that's what I'm doing, because I'm gonna let y'all know right now, I don't know what I'm doing for the third and fourth look. I'm gonna have to figure that out. Now I'm gonna take my smudger or lid shader and going into Duelo again on the outer corner, because monochromatic isn't bad. And then you can figure out like where can you add a pop of color. Like maybe it would have been cool to put this deep blue shimmer here on the lid. That might have looked nice, you know what I'm saying? Then you can go that way and figure out how you can add the color in. But right now, palette like this, first two looks, we're gonna just go with what we know. Blue's just not my color. My mom says it is, but it looks nice though. Going into Kalaka again, this here for the inner corner highlight. And here's look number 2. Very easy. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the liner and let you know what I think about this one. All right, y'all, so here is the completed look, second look. So overall, I do like this one. I think it will just depend on what I wear it with. And you know what? How my hair is sometimes determines how I feel about a look. I know it's weird. I love my space buns, but this is probably week 3 with them. So it's like, now I'm like kind of ready to take it down. But since I'm about to go to the beach, I just want to leave it in as long as it looks decent. And I think it still does. So I think it looks nice here. But if I had my hair down or had it like, you know, a little curly or something like that. Ooh, with a cream sweater. That could be the look. I don't know what a cream sweater has to do with it, but I can see myself wearing this with a cream sweater. Might just be me. All right, let's mix up some colors. Okay guys, this is look number 3. And I told you I was gonna be mixing colors for this look. So let's go ahead and get into it. So to create this look, I use 3 brushes. I have the Linda Hallberg 304. I have the Bodyography shader. That's the one I used in the last look, I think. And I have a smaller shader from the MSQ brand. So I'm gonna start with the Linda Hallberg brush into Corazon. And I'm gonna start by just tapping very, very lightly in the transition area. I'm going close to the brow bone, but not all the way. And I'm gonna keep tapping it just to create kind of the outline of the look. And this doesn't have to be perfect because a lot of this red is going to be covered up. So don't saturate your brush with pigment. It's supposed to be very light. I'm actually kind of wiping the brush off on my arm because now I'm just gonna blend. And that's the start. Next, I'm gonna go into Pantone with the same brush. And again, using the tapping motions, I'm starting right here above the center of the lid and almost doing the same thing that I did with Corazon, but just a little lower and almost like a rainbow. Now I'm gonna swipe a little back and forth. And I want the gradient between the 2 shades to not be harsh. And this brush is tapered, so I'm really just using the tip of the brush for the pigment. Now, if you need to, and I did this on this eye, you can go back into Corazon and you just want a little more red and just take it along the outer part of Pantone if you want the red to be a little brighter or if you feel like you covered it up too much. All right, so I'm not adding any more pigment, and this is really the start of the look. Actually, it's a good portion of the look. All right, so now I'm gonna go into Katrina, which is this blue shimmer with my finger, and I'm gonna just take it all over the lid. You wanna just press it in. I'm not having really any issues with fallout or anything like that. Going back into Pantone, which is this shade here. Still using the first brush on the outer corner. Just like that. Now we're gonna switch brushes to the shader into Pantone. I'm gonna sweep that for the lower lash line all the way over. And I'm keeping it pretty close to the lower lashes. And then to tie it all together, I'm gonna take the MSQ shader into Angelito, which is the teal shimmer for the inner corner. Wing. And that's the look. Now to finish this off, I am going to take a liner by NYX Cosmetics. It is a teal shade, very similar to Angelito. This is the shade Intense Teal, and my mascara, and then I'll be back to let you know what I think about this one. All right, here is the finished look. So let's just look at it up close one more time. I love this one. I think this is my favorite so far. I loved the all red one though. The all red one was so fiery, but I love this because you have that hint of red and you have that grunginess from the blue. And see, this is like a blue look I can get with. The last look, that just wasn't for me. I have all of the same things on my face, and I think you can see the blush a bit more today, because with the other look, with the highlighter, I didn't use that this time. I just wasn't sure. And this can be built up, but this is the Chanel Deep Apricot. I do have on a different lipstick. This is also by Chanel. It's the shade Adrian. I saw Kinky Sweat did a grungy look kind of like this, and then she had on the red lipstick, which looks so good. I don't know how that would look on me, but I love like the nude lip and the deep eyes. So yeah, I like this one. And see, now that I did the two monochromatic looks, I kind of see what colors are gonna look nice together. So it's a lot easier this time around to go into the color. When I first tried to do it, like I wasn't liking anything I came up with. This one to me really embodies Muerte as a palette. You know, I've got the teal, the navy, and the red. So yes, this one is a good representation of the palette. Let's see what else we can come up with. All right, you guys, we are at the last and final look. Now this look does need some perfecting. It was a tough one for me. We're gonna try to go ahead and do this, and hopefully you can see the potential of it if you try to recreate it. And then I'm gonna let you know how I feel about this palette in total. I have a flat shader brush. I have a brush from Show. Now this is a blending brush, and it's tapered, but it's more flat. So I'll show you, I use that one first. And then I have a crease brush, and I'll probably use like my shader for the inner corner. So I'm taking the tapered blender, the one that's like kind of flat, and I'm gonna go into Sangri for the transition. I'm just gonna start by tapping it in. All right, so that's the start of it. I know it looks a little wild. Now let's go into Valorio. That's the last shade that I have not used, with the same brush. And this is just even deeper, and focus that in the crease. I really think that these shades are not super easy to formulate. You know, I am experiencing some patchiness. I'm just gonna take a clean brush for a second, because this needs some work up here at the top. Now I'm just taking a makeup wipe and just making sure there's nothing on the lid, because I'm gonna use that Calica, which is that shimmery kind of light beige. I'm just gonna take some more primer and just put it on the lid where I took the makeup wipe, and I'm taking a flat shader brush and just pressing it in. This look is a bit messy, y'all. Okay, now going into Calica with the same brush, and I'm just going to press it in. I just felt like if I didn't like do that little cut crease action, that it wouldn't show up bright if there was any of those plum shades on the lid. And this is a chalky kind of shimmer, not very shimmy. Okay, and I'm not like, I don't do these cut creases a lot, but I felt like it was necessary. All right, now I'm gonna go into Noche Eterna, which is this blue here. Take this brush here, blending brush, and tap it on the outer corner. I'm gonna try to build it up. Actually, this eye is coming out a little bit better than this one. I did take a little bit of Katrina, which is the navy shimmer, and kind of put it over here too to try to segue the two colors together. And this one has some fallout too. Taking the shader brush into Duelo and bringing it underneath the lower lash line. And then for the inner corner, going into Lagrimas. All right, that's the third look. This one was kind of rough, y'all. It was rough, but hopefully you can see the inspo, and you know, you might be able to take it to another level, because this one is not my forte. But I'm gonna put on my navy liner and mascara, and then we're gonna wrap up this video. Here's what it looks like. See, it looks better from afar, but like up close, I gotta work on this. I gotta work on perfecting this one. I'll be right back. All right, you guys, this is the last look. It is finished. So I didn't even look and see what this looked like with my eyes closed. So hopefully it doesn't look terrible, but I think you get the point of the look. All right, so let's talk about how I feel about Muerte here. First of all, I'm really happy that Melt brought it back. There are people who missed it at the launch. There are people who got into makeup after the palette was long gone, like myself. So it just gave all of us an opportunity to get it. And it also seemed like they had a lot of these palettes in stock. I'm hoping that everybody who wanted the palette was able to get their hands on the palette. That is first and foremost. I am happy to have this along with Vita, and I think, you know, the combinations that you can do with these two palettes will be endless. So happy to have it in my collection. I was gonna get it no matter what. Now, is this a palette I am gonna reach for often? Absolutely not. There's just no way. The color story is hands down one of the most unique color stories that I've seen in my collection. And I was asked to compare this to a palette by Unearthly. So let me see if I can do that real quick. And the palette is the Hauntingly Glamorous palette. Now that is a palette that I did not receive in PR, and just the color story wasn't something that really attracted me. But when I look at this in Muerte, I do see a few similarities. You have the bright red on the top row, and you have that burgundy at the end of the top row. And in the middle row, you have a shade that looks like Duelo, which is that deep, 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 like a blue teal color. So you have that, and then at the end of the row, you have a teal or turquoise light matte shade. Those four seem similar. Then when you look at the bottom row, it looks like there's a navy. So you have 5 shades that, you know, you could make a Muerte-esque look, and then it looks like you could maybe use the white shimmer at the top, maybe to do something like this. So if you have that palette, you could probably get a similar look, but I don't really think the palettes are similar when I look at it. Let's talk about the performance of the palette. Now, we all know that the Melt Cosmetics palettes are just not very consistent, and I would say this goes right along with it. I don't think that this is their best formulation, but I also think it's because these pigments, I just think, are hard ones to create. They weren't the easiest to work with, and it does say eyeshadow palette. So I think these are shadows, but I noticed like with some of the matte, they went on a bit patchy, and I've noticed that with some of the Melt mattes. Melt makes really great mattes in some of their palettes, like Mary Jane, Rust, 27. Those mattes are really great. But then like in the 420 palette, those mattes were very difficult to work with if you tried to do the back and forth motions and you didn't pat them in. So I noticed that, and you saw that when I did put my shadows on, I did a lot of patting it and tapping it before I started to go back and forth. But whenever I started to go back and forth, there was just some patchiness starting to happen. But I still think the looks turned out well. Just will take a little bit more skill on my end to perfect a look like this. I have seen really gorgeous looks with this palette, and that's why I said this is inspo, because you know, some of the looks can be quite fancy, and those haven't been the looks that I've been doing or going for. I also would like to say that unlike Gemini 2, all of the shades showed up differently. Like, I was really worried about Valorio and Sangri, and they showed up differently. I didn't have that luck with Gemini 2. All of the reds showed up the same. All of the peaches showed up the same. And the same with like the blues and the grays here. All of those were different enough. So this palette has a lot of variety. I do like these two shimmers. I thought these two shimmers were really great. Angelito and Katrina. That look with the blue all over the lid, that was the third look. That was probably the best one that I did with this palette. And I thought the shimmers, even though like Angelito feels a bit rough, and actually Katrina does too. They're not like, kind of like, I don't want to say like sandpaper, but they're rough, you know? This last shimmer, I don't think was great. Calica, it's okay, but it's really not a great shimmer at all. It's more of a satin type of shimmer than the other two. It's just okay. And we know that Melt sometimes does just okay shimmers. So the formula in this palette isn't like a standout in a good or bad way. I can just say it's not my favorite Melt formula. My favorite Melt formula is probably the Rust palette. It's and Mary Jane. No, never mind. The Mary Jane shimmers, half of Mary Jane, because the two shimmers on the ends of Mary Jane were not great, but the rest of the shimmers were really good, and the mattes were really good. Like, this would not be my favorite Melt palette, but I'm happy to have it, if that makes sense. Like, I don't regret buying it. It is completing the set that I have with Vita, and I think me kind of being a collector of makeup in a way, it almost is like a historian a little bit, that the Amore Eternal collection, from what I've read and from talking to people, was just something that was so creative and spectacular, and something that just hadn't been done. So I'm proud to own those two palettes with my eyeshadows. I'm happy they brought it back. So those are my overall feelings about the palette. It's earned a place in my collection. So yeah, that's how I feel. Let me know if you purchased this on the restock. Let me know if you own Muerte, you know, like you've had it from the original launch. Is it a palette that you love? Is it a palette that you come back to and use from time to time? Or at this point in 2022, is it more of like a collector item for you that you just have for the memory, and because it's a special color story, but you don't really use it like that? I would really be curious. It's very unique. I don't have anything else like it, but I will say that I did dupe this palette with Tara Moon's shades, I believe, and Sydney Grace shades, and they are a lot easier to use. I can say that for sure. So if you're interested in seeing the dupe video, let me know. I can do a real comparison because I have the real palette. So let me know if you want to see that. And I think I have taken up enough of your time. So thank you so much for taking out your time and hanging out with me today for this video. I was really excited and happy to do this. And I hope this was therapy for you. It always is for me. So until I see you again, make sure you are being gentle with yourself. Talk to yourself nice, stay safe, and I will see y'all really soon. Bye.